right, welcome into the Real Talk Ravens podcast. Here we got the Week 6 edition, the London edition, Baltimore Ravens versus the Tennessee Titans, Sunday morning at 9:30 Eastern a.m.
Yeah. Woo.
Got to wake up early.
You know,
I'm in Utah, so it's really 7:30 Eastern for me, so I have to get up extra early.
well, I'm lucky and unlucky. I'm gonna be up, but I'm gonna be working, so I probably won't be watching the game until I can come home and watch the NFL plus replay. So my phone's gonna be blowing up all morning, and I'm gonna be trying to avoid it. But
There you go.
damn, if these London games don't perplex me. You can have teams that are just so hot going to London and suck, like the Bills, because they got so hurt, because it's such a weird transition. But then you have teams like the Jaguars who play there every year. The Ravens and the Titans have both played in London before. I believe they both lost. Obviously, the Ravens lost, but I think the Titans lost.
They lost by a field goal to the Chargers the last time they were there.
Okay. I think this is the same stadium we played in last time, right? Tottenham?
No, last time we played in Wembley.
Okay. Tottenham is a pretty nice stadium. I watched the Premier League, so it's a pretty nice stadium. I think that the Ravens actually do have a pretty big fan base out there. From what I can tell, just looking at Facebook groups and Instagram, we are one of the more followed teams. More so probably now because Odell Beckham is on our team. And he is one of those players that's just kind of international. Everyone likes him. But also, I mean, the Ravens, Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, some really good literature that I know our British friends enjoyed. And I heard that there was a big group of, fans based off of that as well. So
that makes sense.
I don't know. Hopefully this time we actually give them their money's worth.
Yeah, last time we played there, it was in 2017, so it's been 6 years now. So hopefully we can rub that off. It was a terrible, terrible game versus the Jaguars, as we all know. But yeah, so just getting into it, jerseys of the week, the Threads, white jersey, black pants. This is the third time we've worn them this year. We're 2-0 so far, so hopefully we can keep that going. I think we played the Cincinnati and Cleveland both in that. And then the weather in London is going to be 50 degrees and sunny. So good football weather. And then the spread on the game, we are favored by 4 points. The over-under is at 41 right now. And then for our referee this week, we get Bill Vinovich, we all know he's keen to keeping flags in his pocket. He averages just about 14 flags per game, so he's not going to be the one that's going to throw a lot of flags. They're going to just let him play pretty much.
Now, before we get into the whole offense and defense thing, can I just say something? Because I feel bad. I missed the recap after both of our losses. I want y'all to know, first of all, that I'm not just skipping it because we lost. And I actually had a segment recorded that I was not able to get in on time. It was this epic rant about how the Ravens fucking suck on offense and blah, 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 this and that. But I'm actually kind of glad I didn't send it in because I've done some thinking over the last couple of days. And when the hell have the Steelers not had our number? I really, really, really do think that last game was more of an anomaly than anything else. And I know it's tough to say that because we've been so inconsistent this year. But let's just say instead of 9 drops, we have 4. And we connect on 5 of those drops. It could have been a completely different game.
We left about 150 yards passing and 3 touchdowns on the board. So,
right. So I think it's very fair to say that Lamar struggles tremendously under pressure from the D-line, but it's unfair to say that it's all on him because he's legitimate. I mean, Ronnie Stanley sucked last game, understandably so, but he sucked last game. And when you have your third string right tackle in and a left tackle coming off of 2 missed weeks, it's a pretty bad recipe when you're playing the best D-line in the sport.
At least the edge guys.
So at least the edge guys. I guess the Niners are probably going to have something to say about that on Christmas Eve. But yes, of course, Lamar needs to actually hold on to the ball. It feels like anytime anyone touches him, it's just on the ground, like the ball. Um, but I mean, we're kind of nasty. I mean, look, even the best teams lose sometimes. What are you gonna? We're not gonna go like 15-2, win the AFC North, win the AFC, and then destroy everyone in the Super Bowl. I hope you all know if the Ravens are gonna make a run, our hearts are gonna be beating through every single freaking playoff game we play. It's not gonna be comfortable because whether you like to admit it or not, we like to play up or down to the competition. And I don't know if that what that says about us as a team. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing that we keep it. I mean, obviously, it's a bad thing that we keep it close when we should be winning, but I don't think that's a thing that's going to just like, I've never had it any other way with the Ravens. We've never been a team to just blow people out.
That probably 2019. That
Even
was probably the
even when
only.
we right. And who did we play that year? Like the worst division in football was the AFC North besides us, and then like we were playing the Dolphins, the freaking who we put 59 points up on. We were playing the Rams, who we put like 48 points up on. It's like we didn't play anyone.
Yeah,
Of
we
course, we
definitely. I
blew them
think
out.
it. I think it actually helps to play the better schedule during the season, so it prepares you for the playoffs when you do have those tougher matchups, because you have to fight through some close games. And I think learning that in the regular season is actually good for you for that.
And look, man, like I know it's easy to be down on yourself as a fan of Baltimore sports right now because honestly, the Orioles got swept the same week we lost to the Steelers. That's a really rough week. And we have a really, really rough stretch of football games coming up. I was telling Tyler the other day, if things go absolutely as bad as they could go, we could end up being like 3-5 after week 8. So it's bad, but or it could be bad. But the one thing about the Ravens is that they're always going to bring their A game. Um, Normally, it really takes a lot to beat us. Look at the Colts, the no call. Look at the Steelers. Literally, like took them what a safety, 2 field goals, and a lucky touchdown, and still we were breathing down their neck on the last drive. It takes a lot to beat the Ravens.
Well,
And
it
while we've
also
lost to
is
two of the shittiest teams in the NFL,
like Palmer said
oh,
on Monday, the Ravens beat themselves. We give the games away. It's not so much other teams winning the games as it is us losing the game. So,
when's the last time we've been straight up beat?
exactly. Probably the playoffs against Cincinnati. If we want to, I mean, honestly, we gave that game away too with the quarterback fumbles on the goal line.
I would say not even that. Maybe like the Bengals 2 years ago.
Yeah, if you don't want to count because we could say injuries are an excuse, but let's
Well,
let's
no,
get it.
well, yeah. Go
Let's
ahead.
get it.
Sorry.
Let's get it going to the injuries. Let's look at that. This week we did not make any signings. Here's what our injury report is looking like this week. This is definitely the healthiest that we've been since week 1. The only player that is not practicing is Odafe Owe. Everyone else is full participants. That's including Patrick McCary, who we lost last week, and Morgan Moses, who did not play last week. Geno Stone is limited, so he might be a question mark, which isn't the worst thing since we do have Marcus Williams back. But obviously, we'd like to have him for depth. And then Keaton Mitchell's full participant, so I'd be curious to see if he plays this week. And then Clowney didn't practice on Wednesday because of an illness, but he's fine.
I think there was like a little bit of just like a bug or something going around the Ravens locker room because it looks like Mercari was hurt or was sick too.
Yeah, Harbaugh mentioned in his press conference in London that there was a sickness going around. Hopefully that's not anything too serious. But Tennessee, Tennessee injury-wise, they are hit much worse than us. They've already announced 3 players are out for this week with their second string wide receiver Treylon Burks, Luke Gifford, linebacker, and corner Elijah Molden. Corner is definitely a weakness for them already, so that will hurt them. The guys that I want to keep an eye on are the D linemen there, Jeffrey Simmons and Tyre Tart. Jeffrey Simmons is only a limited practice participant as of today on Thursday, and Tyre Tart did not play last week and still has not practiced with a toe injury, and he's their starting nose tackle.
Is that their starting center with a neck injury, limited and not
Yes.
practicing?
I'm not sure if that's their starter. That's a good question, but
That could be
yeah,
pretty
he did
big,
not
especially.
practice today, but he practiced on Wednesday, so maybe he had a setback.
I do want to remind you guys that the Titans' offense has been so down this year because their O line has played poorly and they haven't been able to run the ball consistently with Henry. So if we penetrate that O line, we could have a defensive game that looked a lot like last week and an opportunity for our offense to make up for what happened last week.
Yep. So that's the injury report for this week. It's pretty nice to see us be healthy for once, but that doesn't regard the or mention all the guys we have on IR. So anyways, I will not be doing the film room segment this week because I could not bear to watch that game over again. I was just so frustrated. So we'll skip that for this week and hopefully be back with that next week with some Titan stuff. But let's go ahead and get into the offensive keys. I would say just looking at the Titans game from last week, they lost to the Colts. All right. And what really hurt them was the Colts ran for almost 200 yards rushing. And a key that I think that that could be due to, because, normally the Titans are a really good rushing defense. They're known for having a top rush defense so far this year, except for that Colts game. But Tyre Tart, their nose tackle, was out last week, and I think that really hurt them. So I think if he's out this week, we could see ourselves running big time on them up the middle because they don't have a true nose tackle. They've tried they started a guy off the practice squad last week at nose tackle. So that's a huge weakness for them if he's not in. The other guy that we need to attack is Christian Fulton at corner. He had multiple penalties last week and led up multiple explosive plays to the Colts. Vrabel has already come out and said that he considered benching him. So if we attack him a few times, I can definitely see, him getting benched. But yeah, how about you?
I think offensively, the key to this game, while it would be nice to run all over them, their weakness is their secondary. And weaknesses normally don't travel to London with you, especially. So we can definitely exploit their weakness in the secondary if our offense comes ready to catch the fucking ball this week. Sorry. If our offense comes ready to catch the ball this week. I think that if we can get the passing game going early, we can take shots, we can maybe run the ball, like you said, and get the play action game going. I think finding the middle of the field, attacking those corners, attacking those safeties, we will have a really good chance at least getting a lot of yardage. I don't know about the red zone. They do tend to tighten up, a little bit in the red zone. I'm so stupid. In the red zone, but for the most part, we've been really good in the red zone outside of last week, which, again, I don't even think we were in the red zone much, so I don't think that really affected our numbers in the red zone. I think the way we win this game is by passing and passing on them early and all day.
Yeah, that would be good. Like you said, we need our receivers to step up.
I was just saying the nose tackle being out is just a bonus at that point.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
What were you saying about the receivers?
Yeah, I was saying, like you're saying, we can attack that secondary, and if our receivers decide to show up this week, it would be very nice. I think one thing we do have to keep in mind with passing the ball is they do have a good defensive front to rush the passer, especially Jeffrey Simmons. And I think they're going to match him up on John Simpson, who right now hasn't really shown, I guess, in the media. People haven't talked about it, but I looked it up, and he actually right now has the fourth most penalties by offensive guards in the NFL. So I think that's a definite mismatch for us. Jeffrey Simmons has 21 pressures and 16 hurries already this year, and he's their highest graded player on defense. So him
He's
matched up
been
on
no
John
joke.
Simpson could be a nightmare, especially with him being on the interior. It's not like we can really help out much besides, maybe Linderbaum, maybe double teaming. But
That's
if he's
something
the
last.
three technique, which means he's going to be lined up outside of the guard, not, in between the guard and center. He'll be in between the guard and the tackle. And then the tackle will obviously still have a defensive end outside to block. So Simmons is probably going to be one-on-one with John Simpson a lot. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on.
Why doesn't Mike McDonald like to double team? I don't know if that's like a real thing or not, but I did notice against the Steelers we were not double teaming TJ Watt really. And I would assume we're probably not going to double team
We did
Jefferson and
actually do chipped the defensive end, JJ Watt, not JJ, TJ Watt. We
TJ.
chipped him a
Yeah.
lot with the running back when he was coming out on his route. So it wasn't like they stayed in and protected, but he on his way
Right.
out for the route, he would chip him and then get out. But we didn't stay double teaming the entire time. But the other thing that the Steelers did a lot of was they dropped Watt into coverage, which was kind of dumb. I was watching the QB school that I was telling you about from JP Lossman, and he mentioned that it was really dumb that they did that because of our weakness was blocking him when they did send him. So, anyways, I mean, this week offensively, there's got to be one goal in mind this week, and that is do not fumble the ball.
Hold on to the ball.
We cannot fumble the ball. That is a self-inflicted penalty. I don't care if Lamar gets sacked. I don't care if the running back is 20 yards down the field. We cannot fumble the ball. That is every time that we have fumbled the ball, it seems like we're in a dogfight because of that is almost worse to me. It is worse to me than an interception. I mean, at least with an interception, you're trying to move the ball down the field. Like fumbles, there's just you're just sitting there and you're not. I don't know.
The frustrating thing about a fumble is it's completely avoidable. The thing with an interception is,
There's a lot more
yes,
factors.
also completely avoidable, but it's a lot harder, I feel, to keep a good defensive back from intercepting your ball because they read the route than holding on to the fucking ball, which you've been taught from day one, no matter what position you play. like
Crazy. And it's just like you said, it's frustrating. It's just been our Achilles heel this year, to be honest. And
yeah.
it would just be nice to have a game without a fumble. When's the last? Did we have a game without a fumble this year, regardless of losing it or not? Not that I know of. I think
No,
we've at least fumbled
we've
every
had a
game.
fumble in every game.
So can we just not
Yeah,
have
because we
any
had that one.
fumbles?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, on to defense.
On to defense.
The the thing I like about the Ravens, the one thing that has been consistent has been their defense. They're number two in scoring, I think, still, right? I think they're number two in yards. They've been exactly what we wanted them to be. And it's kind of funny because they were the underrated unit this offseason. Actually, this Ravens team reminds me so much of that Chargers team that had the best offense and the best defense, but the worst special teams and missed the playoffs. Because our defense is not to blame for our loss last week. Our special teams and our offenses, and so many times this year, our special teams has been responsible for something bad. Anyway, I'm not trying to go on to special teams. Our defense has been lights out, and against another inferior opponent, I think they'll continue to be lights out. I think keys to the game are penetrating the O-line, like I said earlier, just stopping the run before it gets loose. Derrick Henry can still break one, but if you stop him in the backfield, he really can't. He doesn't have that escapability right now. It doesn't seem when you stuff him. Ryan Tannehill, he likes to run, so you do want to have a spy on him. And DeAndre Hopkins went off last week, so I think doubling him now that we know that Treylon Burks will be out, and having a spy on Tannehill / the running back at all times would be good. And a solid plan. I guess just avoid penalties. Get quick 3-and-outs. Don't stall. Don't let that offense gain momentum. Hit the quarterback and hit the running back. Hit the quarterback, hit the running back. You'll be fine.
Yep, agreed. I think Titans are built to run the ball. They've got Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
They've got this rookie that's got a little speed, Tajay Spears. He's their little check down.
You look good, man.
He's pretty good. He's had a good season so far. I definitely think we need to keep an eye out for him coming out of the backfield because he's got that breakaway speed. If he can make a 5-yard play, make a guy miss and go the distance. So I think, we're not known to let teams just drive the ball down our throats. So one thing that could be something that they would be able to do is have a guy like Spears, break a tackle and go 75 yards and then make it a ball game. So definitely got to watch out for that. I think Derrick Henry, in my opinion, has lost a step. Just from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like he has that breakaway speed. He hasn't had a good year this year. He, I think, had one good game against Cincinnati, and who hasn't played well against Cincinnati? They have a weak offensive line, to be honest. So I think that bodes well for our, especially the interior O linemen. I think that bodes well for our guys on the interior, the D tackles. But also, like you were saying, their go-to guys, DeAndre Hopkins last week, he had 8 catches for 140 yards versus the Colts. So he kind of had his coming out party last week. And, I know through the offseason, there was a lot of talk about us, between OBJ and DeAndre Hopkins. And right now, Hopkins has had the better year. He's the only guy out of the two that has had a breakout game over 100 yards. So,
OBJ hasn't. I was telling my friend the other day, it seems like every time he catches the ball, he's just done for at least that series because
it's like he's hurt. Mr. Glass. He's Mr. Glass right now. So he even said he's not 100%, but I don't care. Like him and we paid him a lot of money, so we could have paid that to Hopkins is all I'm saying. And Hopkins is a little bit younger, even though I don't know. Hopkins has that build that we do not do well against. A big body wide receiver, just like Pickens last week. We do not do well against that type. So I think a key matchup is going to be Marlon Humphrey versus him. Like how does Marlon come back?
I think that Marlon Humphrey it was tough because they put him one-on-one with their best player, and he is the person who's supposed to be one-on-one with their best player. But he did just come back from foot surgery. And that does worry me a little bit because Ronald Darby has looked really bad. Or he looked bad the other day. He's been off and on.
He's just not going to.
He makes plays. He's inconsistent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Rock Yassin. I don't know if he's hurt or if he's not playing because he sucks.
He played 100% of the special team snaps last week, but played 0 on defense. I don't know if it was a game plan thing or what, but when he's played corner this year, the limited time that he's played, he's looked really good. So I don't understand that.
Do you think maybe we were just playing more? I mean, we have been playing Kyle Hamilton in the nickel a lot. So
he's an outside corner, though. I think he is better than Darby right now. At least they should be rotating.
I don't think Darby should be playing at all unless someone's out.
I think they should. I think they should be on a rotation at the very least.
Well, look, here's the thing, man. It's so. The Ravens are the team that if they just actually legitimately put their heart and soul to it, they would win a Super Bowl. They really would. But just something they self-sabotage so much. In game, that whole stupid thing with the field goal where they just instead of kicking the field goal, went for it or whatever happened. They numerous times last year, gutsy calls that I guess you like to see, but they weren't working out and we kept making them. It's eventually you would think someone would just say, you know what? No. We're just gonna do what's been working and we're gonna win the game. And we're going to move on to next week. I don't know why we try and get so fucking fancy. I think John Harbaugh, since he's such a respected coach, just gets fancy sometimes and there's no one there to really check him. And I'm not saying he always needs to be checked because I am not on the fire John Harbaugh train. I love John Harbaugh, and I think he's still a top five coach in the NFL, and all time coaches in the NFL, definitely a top 10. Um, he gets his players to show up. He just makes weird decisions sometimes, and I know it wasn't his fault with the field goal, so I'm not holding it too much against him. But at the same time, you are the head coach, and yeah,
We've just had a lot of, miscommunications over the first 5 games, it seems like, and that's on a product of coaching to me, is communication.
I feel like it's carrying over from years past. It's not like new things that are happening. It's like the same shit that we were doing in other years, just like different, you know?
Yeah. I just think this week, we've got to help the corners out with these big body receivers. Like, we can't do what we did last week with Pickens and let him just catch back shoulders and draw pass interferences. I'd rather, run a cover 2 and make them, basically throw into double coverage. Like, I don't want to see DeAndre Hopkins in single coverage. They don't
No
have
matter who
anybody
it's
else that's really threatening downfield. They have a decent
watch.
tight end, Okonkwo.
Yeah.
But besides that, I'm not worried about their pass game. Tannehill's not proven to really thread the needle too much. He's actually kind of on the hot seat with the Tennessee fans because they've got these young quarterbacks. So I could easily see Tannehill, if they lose a couple more games, fans calling for him to be
Let them
benched.
start Malik Willis. Wow, that's going to be so much better. Let them start Will Levis. Oh my god, starting Will Levis would be like so cruel to the kid.
Yeah.
Look, I understand that sometimes it works out, but I am really against starting a rookie quarterback unless it's like for a single game at the end of the year or like 2 or 3 games if you're already out of the playoffs. But like what the Panthers are doing to Bryce Young is inexcusable. What the Colts are doing to Anthony Richardson, dude's already had like 4 injuries. I think at least 2 of them have been concussions. Now he's got his AC joint.
The thing about the Colts with Richardson is they have a good offensive line. The Panthers, they have an awful offensive line. So I feel like Richardson's more product of the scheme of him running the ball.
I mean, Chance Steichen.
Anyways, I want to see Marcus Williams this week. I really want to keep an eye on him because last week he was out there running around with one arm, basically. Like you could tell his shoulder was not like even close to 100. Like, he's probably at like 50%. It looked like he looked really bad out there, running around. So I want to see how he improves with that because according to Harbaugh, it is completely a pain tolerance thing for him. So hopefully they are able to shoot it up with some pain relievers and all that good stuff. So he's good to go. But last week was not, whatever they did last week did not work.
Now, I have a question for you, having been a football player. I don't know if you've ever like actually been seriously injured. I know you had a couple things.
I have.
But when you do have an injury and you try to play like through it, even if it's just like something that you tweak, and you're trying to tolerate the pain and you're shooting yourself up and all that, do you eventually get used to it and it's just like another thing, or is it every week just going to be like, oh fuck, here we go again?
But just from my experience as a former player, I would say, I feel like it just depends if he's changing his treatment at all. Like, is he going to try something new? I don't know what he did last week, but whatever he did do, it didn't work. If he shot up last week with cortisone shots, that's usually only like, you don't get that every game. You get that once, and then it usually lasts like, depending, usually like 4 to 6 weeks. So it's usually best right when you get it. And then as the weeks go on, usually the effects aren't as significant for you. So you kind of feel a little bit more pain. But The one thing he is doing, he's wearing that brace around his shoulder, which basically is keeping it so it's not going to get hurt any worse than it already is. It's completely a pain thing. So it's all about how we're able to manage his pain. So I think whatever they did last week didn't work. And they
Well,
need
I
to try
guess
something else.
my question would be, and I know Marcus Williams is a big man, he's a safety. If he's essentially playing with one arm, is it even worth playing? I mean, he's supposed to be making tackles. He's supposed to be like running that defense. If he can't stop someone, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe he can stop someone
it,
with one arm, but like, I don't, yeah,
it's a
maybe he should
concern.
just get that surgery. You know,
It's a
don't hurt yourself. Or
That's the thing. I don't think he can hurt it worse. So,
so you think it's already like a really bad injury
oh,
that he's
I
just.
think I think it's completely torn. I don't think it's partially torn because if it's partially torn, that means it could get worse. And by playing, he could completely tear it, and you don't want that. But I
Some
think if it's
players do
already
that.
completely torn, he can't tear it any worse. All my friends that have torn their pecs and their labrums and all that stuff, they've pretty much played through it, but like it's completely torn, it can't get any worse. That's all.
When you see, and I feel like if you tear a pec, like technically you don't need the pec,
I mean,
the
Ray Lewis,
muscle
Ray
for like
Lewis did it,
yeah, and he won a Super Bowl. So,
and he is
but
playing a
that's
much
Ray Lewis.
tougher position when it comes to you know
I mean,
that.
not to dog on Marcus Williams, but he's not the greatest safety who's ever played of all time. The way Ray Lewis was the greatest linebacker who's ever played of all time.
And he's
You
not
know,
taking
you'd
on
expect that of Ray
the
Lewis.
same amount of hits that Ray Lewis had to take.
That's true. That's true. And that's probably why he's playing, you know. Like if he was a linebacker, he probably wouldn't be playing right now.
No, there's no way. The way that I watched him last week, so I definitely want to keep an eye on him. But yeah, anything else defensively?
I'd really, really like to keep an eye on Jadeveon Clowney, because he is a former Titan. I
Oh,
feel like he'll,
forgot about that.
yeah, didn't he beat us in the playoffs on the Titans, or did we beat him? I know he was in at least one of those playoff games, if not both. But either way,
Yeah.
old team. He's familiar with the coach. He's familiar with the quarterback and probably a lot of the players in that room. Also, he's been getting better and better every week. He still hasn't gotten that sack. I think Tannehill would be a great player for him to get his first sack against.
He's gotten
I
one
don't know. Has he?
pretty.
When? Was it the Browns?
I don't remember which game it was, but I think he's gotten one, but he's just missed a lot. He's missed a lot.
Did you want to get into bold predictions? Did you have anything for
Yes.
offense or
All
defense?
right. Offensively, I am going to say Rashad Bateman has a big bounce back game this week. He's going to go for 75 plus receiving yards and a touch. Get him back and, try to get his career back on the right trajectory, especially versus a weak secondary for the Titans. Secondly, I've got Michael Pierce and Justin Matabike combining for 2 sacks and 2 TFLs because the interior of this Titans offensive line is very weak right now, and I think that they are going to be big disruptors.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction for offense. Take this as you feel. I don't think this would necessarily be a great thing, but also not a bad thing. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be in addition to other scores, but I think Justin Tucker is gonna. I think he's gonna tie it or he's gonna break his own record for most field goals made in a game. And that's just because we're playing in London, and I just don't trust anyone playing in London. I feel like we're gonna move the ball well, but it might be tough to score. Or we could just be like scoring every drive. We get the ball, and then some are touchdowns and some are field goals. I think his record in a game is 5, or no, it's 6 because we beat the Lions like 18 to something that one year after we won the Super Bowl. So his record is 6. I think he could at least tie that. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think our offense is going to be moving. I think that the Titans defense will be tough to score on. I got to give them their respect. The receivers have to prove to me that they can consistently play well before I'm going to assume they can do anything. So I think, like I said earlier, we'll move the ball a lot, but we might not necessarily get in the end zone. We will score, though. And then also for defense, I would say I think we're going to get a pick six this week. I don't know who it's going to be. I actually, if I had to put money on it, I would put my money on Kyle Hamilton or sorry, not Ronnie, Patrick Queen. Sorry. I think Patrick Queen could be a good contender for one, because he tends to get overlooked sometimes. People throw his direction, and he's batted a couple down now, kind of like Roquan. I guess it'd be a toss up. I'd say either of those middle linebackers or Kyle Hamilton would be my bet. But I think we'll get a pick six this week.
All right. So what's your score prediction then with all those field goals and your pick six?
Ravens 32, I guess, because I gave us 18 and I said we're going to get a pick six, and I think we'll score at least one touchdown on offense through the air. So 32 Ravens, big comeback from last week. Titans. That's London. Freaky things happen. Ravens 32, Titans 28.
Okay. I am gonna go still say yes, we win. I'm gonna go, it's gonna be a little bit lower scoring. I'm gonna say it's 23-13. I will give us a 10-point cover. And yeah, I think Tucker will probably get, based off my score, 23-13. He should get 2 field goals or 3 field goals. 3 field goals, and we'll have 2 touchdowns.
Are those going to the air on the ground?
Well, I already have Bateman for 1, so I'll probably have one more of the rusher, maybe Justice Hill or Gus.
You didn't say he had a touchdown, did you? You
I
said he
said
had a
75 yards and a touch.
Okay. I thought, man, I must have missed it. My bad.
Here we go. Here is the picks standings from last week. Mike, you had this was your first winning week. I had the worst week that I've had, 1-5. Holy smokes, dude. I don't know what I was looking at last week. I definitely shouldn't have gone back on my Cardinals pick. That bit me really bad.
That was I questioned that one.
Yeah, so I still have a 2-game lead on the season, but you have narrowed the gap for sure. So with that being said, who do you got for the Thursday night football this week? Denver at Kansas City. We have already both picked this, and we both know that we both picked the same team to win. So I haven't looked at the score at all.
I did look at the score, but by mistake, I completely forgot they were playing. I forgot it was Thursday.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I'm not going to tell you anything, but we both picked the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep, we both talked about that earlier. Kansas City was double-digit favorites, so we both went ahead and locked that one in. Then, so AFC North matchup, we have Seattle at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored 2.5 points. I am going with the underdogs. I'm going with Seattle to beat Cincy at Cincinnati. I'm picking Seattle to come on the road, and they're coming off a bye week, I'm pretty sure, so I'm going to take them.
Seattle doesn't stand a fucking chance. Joe Burrow is back, baby, and I hate to say it, he looked like his old self against the Cardinals. And as the Ravens fans that we are, we need to hope to God that we can stack some wins, because you know that the Bengals will. Bengals will probably win by double digits at home. I think probably the fact that the Seahawks have to travel will contribute to that. I don't necessarily think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think that the Bengals' defense still does suck, but I just think that Joe Burrow's back, and he'll continue to win everything like he always does. So,
hey, We already got a key matchup here for our standings. Next
Dude,
next
I hope to God I'm wrong. That would be great if the Seahawks won that.
next AFC North matchup is San Francisco at Cleveland. Cleveland is coming off their bye week. San Francisco is favored by 7. Also, something to keep in mind: Deshaun Watson is still questionable with a bruised rotator cuff on his throwing shoulder.
Yeah, that man's probably not going to play against that defense.
I wouldn't.
Um, yeah, I don't think. I mean, if I think that they stand a better chance without Deshaun Watson because of the injury, and that's still a really bad chance. Um, I mean, look what we did to them, and I would say our defense is probably top 5, and the 49ers defense is definitely top 1. So, I think we can both agree 49ers, right?
Yeah, I especially if Watson is out, I think that it's not even close.
Can you? They said that what's his face? What's his name? God, I'm blanking on the dude who used to play for the Jets who saw ghosts.
Mark
Not Zach
Sanchez?
Wilson. No, against the Patriots. Sam Brad. No, not Sam Bradford. The dude he plays for the Panthers now.
Sam Darnold. He's
Sam
actually on the
Darnold. Yeah,
49ers now.
that's right. Oh yeah, no, that's right. No, I was just saying DTR is going to see ghosts like Sam Darnold did against the Patriots.
Well, if the 49ers beat him bad enough, Sam Darnold might be playing against them.
Yeah, he might score a couple too. I wouldn't blame him.
But the only other AFC North matchup, Steelers are on a bye this week, so we don't have to worry about them. Then we've got Sunday Night Football, New York Giants at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 14 points on Sunday night. And for the Giants, Daniel Jones is questionable, and the potential starter, former Raven, Tyrod Taylor, or some like to say Tyrod Taylor.
Let me remind you that the Bengals and Seahawks are playing, and this is the first week that you can flex games. And you're still choosing to put the bum ass New York Giants in primetime against a team that we all know will probably lay at least 30 on them.
Listen, I'm gonna
Buffalo
say
73-0.
so. I agree. Buffalo wins, but I think the Giants are gonna keep it close. The Bills lost to the Jets in week 1 in prime time without Aaron Rodgers. All right, so I'm gonna say the Giants keep it close. I think Wink does something to keep it close.
I think when Wink tries to get freaking Kayvon Thibodeau to cover Stephon Diggs, he's going to get burnt for a touchdown. So,
well, we'll see.
I
think Saquon might be coming back this week too, by the way, which bodes well for their offense.
Okay, or at least one touchdown. That's
all right. Moving on to Monday Night Football.
I think the Giants are the worst team in the NFL. I really do. I really think they're the worst team in the league.
They've won one.
They had to come back against the Cardinals.
All right. Well, anyways, Monday Night Football.
They had to score 30 points in the third and fourth quarter to beat the Cardinals, dude.
We've got Monday Night Football. We've got a really good matchup. Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah. I think that the Cowboys and Ravens are the same exact team. They are two very talented teams that always get injured, that always have really high expectations, and should, on paper, win their division, but then drastically underachieve, miss the playoffs, or lose in the first round of the playoffs. And I think they'll come back and they'll beat the Chargers because the Chargers are a little suspicious. And the Cowboys, like I just said, are a decent team. And they're not going to get stomped every week. They're mad. They don't want Kellen Moore to come and beat them. They want to show that Mike McCarthy made the right decision.
Okay.
Dak Prescott's probably going to have one of his better games, and they'll probably rush for at least 150 on the Chargers because for some reason the best defense on paper in the NFL, always with the Chargers for like the last 2 years, somehow underperforms and looks like garbage.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one could be a shootout. Um,
Mhm.
I don't see there being a lot of defense. I think Dallas bounces back after that game versus San Francisco. They had an extra day to prepare because they played on the Thursday night. So yes, give me Dallas on that one.
You know, I was thinking about what I just said earlier with the Cowboys and the Ravens, and it really does seem like we're both those two teams that just have this frustrating cycle of should win, should be winning, but somehow don't. Like always find ways to lose like the dumbest games. Like the Cowboys could go into prime time on the road in Kansas City and blow out the Chiefs, but then they'll lose by like 35 points at home to the Commanders at 1 o'clock. And then the Ravens could go into Philadelphia and win at a 65-yard field goal to win it. And then next week go home and lose to the Steelers 3-6. So like it's so frustrating. And I actually do kind of feel for Cowboys fans because I feel like I am a Cowboys fan in a way. Just a classier team with better fans, but same situation.
So you're going
Although
with
I already told you I said the Cowboys.
okay. I could have sworn you were just
That was
talking. I did not hear you say the
no,
Cowboys.
no. I said the first thing I said was that the Cowboys were going to bounce back and all that. That right there was just me
Normally
talking.
you say all that and then you're like, but I'll go with the Chargers.
No, yeah, no. I really think that the Cowboys will find a way to win. They're a depressing team, man. They're going to win like 10 to 13 games this year and then lose to the 49ers in the divisional round.
All right, well, let's get this Mike's wait, are we doing Mike, do you want to do the top 5 Ravens this week or do you want to do the bottom 5 Ravens this week?
Now, I think when the Ravens play well, they deserve to be honored. But when they play like shit, they deserve to be shat on. Um, so no, we're gonna do my bottom 5 players. And 1 to 5, one is gonna be the worst player. So I'm gonna do 5-1.
Okay.
The fifth worst player on the team was Marlon Humphrey. I know it's kind of unfair to give that to him because he was coming off of an injury. He's been out for a while. He literally just had foot surgery. And he was put in a weird situation where he was one on one with George Pickens, and George Pickens beat him and otherwise had a pretty good game. But he's our number one cornerback. And if he's going to be out there, he's expected to perform well. And when you let a game changing moment like that happen in a game like this, where we have no business losing, fuck yeah, you're going to be on my shit list this week. Get
All right,
yourself
so
together or take another week off.
real quick then,
What?
if Marlon Humphrey is number 5, please tell me that Ronald Darby is one in either 1 through 4.
Oh yeah, Ronald Darby was
Okay,
4.
just making sure. Okay.
Ronald Ronald Darby was just atrocious. And it's it wasn't the defense's fault we lost. And he was tired. I get it. Okay. Like, look, to put defenders on this list, I'm gonna have to make a couple of reaches, but
They
I
shouldn't
have to
be
be
tired.
fair.
Darby and Humphrey were rotating in and out the entire games, every like
Which is
2 drives or
yeah,
something.
my point exactly. So like Darby, I don't know, man. It's just I don't know why Rock Yassin isn't playing. 0 snaps on defense, 100% of the special team snaps.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3. Um, number 3. would be all of the wide receivers as a unit.
Okay.
I couldn't single one out because they all played like crap. 9 drops, guys. Really? You're in the NFL. It wasn't even like raining or anything. You just dropped the ball 9 times. 3 touchdowns
We got to
left on the
include
field.
Mark Andrews in that then.
Yeah, okay. All of our receivers, including Mark Andrews. 2, Daniel Falele. Look, I get it, man. You're the 3rd right tackle. You don't expect to ever be playing. I get it. But you were playing. You're in the NFL. You have to be ready. And when you're on the Ravens, the most injury-prone team in the NFL, you definitely know you got to be ready because you're probably going to have to step up at some point. This man is not ready. He should be on the practice squad. I understand why he's not because someone else would steal him, and he is huge, and he's going to be hopefully one day good. But, like, oh, he almost single-handedly. I'm not going to say single-handedly because the next person on this list helped. Almost single-handedly lost us the game. Let in so much pressure. Lamar Jackson had no time to throw the ball. But if I'm going to complain about Falele, I'm going to also have to complain about number 1 on my list, Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're in your, like, 7th year now, man. You signed a massive contract and got hurt 4 days later. And ever since, have had, like, half of a good season. I understand that you hurt your ankle. That's unfortunate. You're a big man, and that can take you out. And I understand that you rolled over your knee. But for the same reason I gave Marlon Humphrey shit, you were playing today. You're one of our top 3 most highest paid players on this team, god damn it. When you're out there, I expect you to play like the superhuman you are. Not like a freaking piece of paper that just lets anything through it. I don't think you had 1 block. Ronnie Stanley. You're you're more embarrassing than Rashad Bateman deactivating his X account. Get your shit together or give your money to someone who's actually going to play with some ounce of passion. I'm at the point where I can gladly say, if you don't want to be here, go somewhere else, dude. We can spend your money on someone else.
Yeah, so I was watching
I'm tired of it.
I was watching Marlon Humphrey's podcast, right? And
Yeah.
he was talking about how some guys, have reached out to him asking, hey, put in a word for me so that I can, become a Raven or whatnot. Try to trade for me. And one thing that he did say though, when he was talking about it, he was like, if you like football, you probably shouldn't play for the Ravens. If you just like football, you shouldn't play for the Ravens. You have to love football to play for the Ravens, is what he said. That's where his words were. So my question with Ronnie Stanley is, does he just like football? Because if he just likes football, we need to move on. I don't think that to me, he doesn't seem like he's in it. Like he just seems like he's just there to collect a paycheck.
At this point, we could just start Patrick McCarry, who is a serviceable left tackle, or go out there and sign a starting left tackle with the money that Ronnie Stanley could give back to us. Or we could go sign another corner or an edge rusher. We could actually trade for a legit – we could trade for Jerry Jeudy. Because let's face it, OBJ, even if he is good this year, he's not playing much, and this is his only year in Baltimore. We're going to need someone for the future. But, dude, Ronnie Stanley, you remind me of Jeremy Maclin. You don't try. You don't try. And I know the only reason, at least in my opinion, the only reason you haven't been cut is because there's so much money tied in with you. If you were on a rookie contract right now, you would have been cut.
He played the system right.
Very few.
He played well on his rookie contract, was all pro, got the big deal, and then since then it's been nothing, no production on the field. So yeah, he's been by far the number one bottom
Worst.
Raven probably over the last 2 to 3 years, I would say.
Yeah, and you know what? If anyone wants to come and defend him, I I challenge you to defend him. Give me proof that he's still worth holding on to,
Yeah.
and I will debate you on the podcast
Yep.
civilly.
But with that, I think that wraps up the Week 6 preview London edition. Get your fish and
Yeah,
chips.
get your fish and chips in your table, man.
All right. So
That's the worst fucking acting I've ever done.
get your fish and chips. Yeah. So tune in nice and early Sunday morning. And yeah, make sure you hit us with the like, hit us with the subscribe, turn on the notifications, do all that good stuff. But yeah, we'll see you next week with the Week 6 recap of this game, hopefully with some good news this time.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
All righty. See you guys.
Just kidding. We got this.
Yep.
Like I said, 32-28.
23-13. I'll take either.
Either one or anything in between.
On that note, we're out.
All righty.